It was a crisp Monday morning in Silicon Valley, the kind that whispered promises of innovation and change. As I took a deep breath and stepped into the sleek glass building of TechCorp, anticipation bubbled in my chest. I had spent countless nights hunched over my laptop, coding fervently, driven by the ambition to create an AI that could revolutionize the industry. Today was meant to be my moment, the unveiling of my hard work, but I had no idea that it would soon spiral into something far more sinister. I stood before my colleagues in the conference room, the projector illuminating my face. My heart raced as I clicked through the slides, showcasing the functionality and potential of the AI I had engineered. With this, we can enhance efficiency and cut costs significantly, I said, trying to sound confident. Applause erupted, and for a brief moment, I felt on top of the world. Then, in an instant, the atmosphere shifted. Gary, my boss, an imposing figure with a penchant for taking credit, stood up, brushing me aside as if I were merely a shadow. "Great work, team! As your manager, I'm proud to announce this project as my own initiative," he declared, a smug grin spreading across his face. A jolt of nausea crashed through me. I could hear whispers among my peers, confusion mixed with disbelief. How could he do this? I clenched my fists, the anger bubbling within. I needed to fight back. Wait, this project was developed entirely by me. I started, but the words caught in my throat, swallowed by the tidal wave of his authority and the disbelief etched on my colleagues' faces. Determined, I huddled with my closest allies after the meeting. "We need to show everyone the truth," I whispered, urgency coating my voice. Together, we revisited the project's logs, and the intense clicking of keyboards echoed in the room. Each line of code revealed a story, one that painted Gary in a deceitful light. The revelations were gripping, the tension palpable. As I prepared to expose the truth, my heart raced, not just for my sake, but for every creative soul that had been silenced. "This isn't just about me," I said, determination igniting my spirit. "It's time the world knows who the true innovator is." What did I uncover? Before we continue with this surprising revelation, a quick alert for you who follow our stories. YouTube has been removing subscriptions lately, so check if you're still subscribed and leave your like to support the channel. Now, back to the crucial moment. I took a deep breath and stared at the lines of code sprawling across my screen. My fingers trembled slightly as I prepared to compile the evidence we had collected. My co-workers, Jake and Mia, leaned in, their faces lit by the glow of the computer. It was clear. We weren't just fighting for my recognition, we were on the brink of unmasking a culture of deceit. "Look at this," Jake said, pointing to a timestamp on the project history. "Here's where Gary modified the records to make it look like he was involved from the start." My heart sank as I clicked through our entries, each one illustrating the meticulous way he had twisted the narrative, erasing my contributions and claiming credit. "This can't stand," Mia declared, her voice unwavering with conviction. "We have to present this to upper management and the board. It's the only way to stop him." Her eyes sparkled with a mixture of fear and daring, an unusual combination that oddly fueled my determination. As the three of us continued to piece together our case, my mind raced with fears of backlash. What if Gary retaliated? What if our efforts fell flat? But then I'd picture all those late-night coding sessions, the exhilarating sparks of creativity, the purpose behind my hard work. I couldn't let that be erased by one man's greed. The day to present our findings approached quickly, and I was a bundle of nerves. "What if they don't believe us?" I whispered, wringing my hands. But the glimmer of hope shone through the doubt. "We've got to trust the truth," I assured, my voice steadier now. The day of reckoning had arrived. What awaited us in that boardroom? As I adjusted my blazer, my mind raced, not only with the fear of confrontation, but with the realization that this battle could ignite a movement against workplace injustice. Stay tuned, because in the next chapter, we will delve into the tense confrontation with Gary and reveal whether we can stand our ground against his tyranny. It's about to get intense. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and join us for the showdown. As I stood outside the boardroom, my heart pounded in my chest like a drum. The sleek glass doors loomed before me, both a barrier and a portal to justice. In just a few moments, my team and I would confront Gary, laying bare the truth behind his deceit. I glanced at Jake and Mia. Determination glimmered in their eyes, a silent pact that we would not back down. I opened the door and stepped inside, my pulse quickening. The board members were seated around the long oval table, their expressions a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Gary sat smugly at the head of the table, a predator basking in what he thought was victory. I could feel his eyes narrowing as I approached, every ounce of bravado aimed at intimidating me into submission. But I wouldn't let that happen. "Thank you for meeting with us," I began, my voice steady. "Today we're here to set the record straight about the AI project that was presented last week." As I clicked to the first slide of our presentation, I could feel the tension thickening the air. This project is a culmination of months of hard work, all driven by my innovation and efforts, I stated boldly, glancing at Gary, who shifted in his seat, irritation flickering across his face. Mia stepped forward, ready to deliver our findings. "We have documented evidence showing that Gary manipulated project logs to erase the contributions of the true creator. Me," I continued, pointing to the screen, the data illuminating every detail of our painstaking investigation. I could feel the eyes of the board members widen in disbelief, the atmosphere crackling with tension. Each timestamp, each code snippet we revealed chipped away at Gary's facade, piece by piece. His smugness began to wilt under the scrutiny of facts. "Are you stating that our esteemed manager has fabricated his role?" one board member asked, disbelief etched into their brow. I took a deep breath. This was it, the moment we had worked so hard for. "Yes, I am." At that moment, Gary erupted, his face turning a shade of red I had never seen. "This is preposterous. You think you can just undermine my authority?" His voice boomed, but I stood my ground. I'd prepared for this. "Authority built on lies is no authority at all," I retorted, fueled by a surge of adrenaline. "This isn't just about one project. It's about the integrity that we owe to every innovator in this room. We can't allow a culture of deceit to prevail." The board members exchanged glances, their expressions shifting from disbelief to contemplation. A shift was happening, and I felt a flicker of hope ignite within me. Would they believe us? Would I finally reclaim my voice? As the tension reached its peak, Jake leaned in closer, sensing the urgency. "This is a chance to stand up for every unheard voice," he whispered to me, and I nodded, determination solidifying within. But just then, we heard a knock at the door. Who could it be? Stay tuned as the unfolding drama escalates in the next chapter, where the stakes get higher and the fight for truth leads to unexpected twists. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what's to come. It was early afternoon, and the weight of the boardroom felt heavier than ever. Staring down the polished conference table, I couldn't shake the feeling of impending change. My heartbeat synchronized with the space around me. I had structured our presentation carefully, piece by piece, to ensure the truth unfurled like a tightly wound spring, ready to explode. With each glance at my teammates, Jake and Mia, a silent affirmation passed between us. We were in this together. "Thank you for meeting with us," I reiterated, my voice steady despite the tension crackling in the room. "Today, we're here to clarify the authorship of the groundbreaking AI project unveiled last week." My words pierced the silence. The board members shifted in their seats, expressions a blend of skepticism and intrigue. But then there was Gary, comfortably slouched at the head, a self-satisfied smirk playing on his lips, as if Oracle of Delphia herself had bestowed wisdom unto him. I could feel his confidence pouring over me like a saturated blanket, but I fought it off. With an aggressive click, I transitioned to the first slide showcasing the project's timeline. "This project is solely my innovation," I said, forcing my gaze to remain steady on Gary. What occurred last week was not just unwarranted credit. It was a betrayal of every person in this room who has also dared to innovate. I took a deep breath, bracing for a retort, but forged ahead. Mia stepped in, presenting data we had meticulously collected. What we've uncovered are inconsistencies in the project logs. Gary manipulated these records to suggest he was intricately involved, when in reality, he had minimal engagements. I could hear Gary's breath hitch slightly, and I seized the moment, spinning the narrative further. This isn't solely about me. It's a vital lesson about transparency and ethical leadership in our workplace. As I spoke, I could see flickers of recognition in the eyes of some board members. They were absorbing the reality, a reality that went far beyond personal ambition. This was a cultural wake-up call. I leaned into that momentum. No innovation should stand on foundations built by deceit. As I turned toward the next slide, Gary erupted. "This is an absolute farce. You think some lines of code and timestamps could undermine my position?" he boomed, exuding desperation underneath the bluster. "Authority built on lies isn't authority at all." I shot back, a newfound courage running through my veins. We should be fostering a culture of respect and accountability, not fraudulent pretenses. I could sense a shift among the board members, a collective tension building between disbelief, curiosity, and a motivation to resolve the discord. The room felt charged, like the seconds before a lightning bolt strikes. "Are you actually implicating that I would engage in such behavior?" Gary snapped, desperation surfacing in his tone. The moment hung thick in the air, anticipation coiling around my throat. "I'm the one who's been here day in and day out. I've worked tirelessly for this company." Gary's bold claims rang hollow now, echoes of past triumphs that resonated because of his position, not his actions. I stepped closer, my tone firm but measured. "Tireless doesn't equate to ethical. You tried to steal the narrative from someone who bled for this project. You've sacrificed integrity for ego." The board members began to murmur among themselves, sharing skeptical glances aimed at Gary, and I pressed on. "So let's examine precisely what it means to be a leader. Is it taking credit where it's not due, or guiding the team with honesty?" At that moment, a soft knock reverberated through the room, causing us all to turn. An unexpected figure stood at the entrance, a woman in a sharp blazer, the corporate logo of TechCorp emblazoned upon her lapel. "Sorry to interrupt," she said, glancing apologetically at the board members. "I need to speak to Gary." Surprised tension rippled through the room. Who was she, and why did she dare intrude during our pivotal moment? My mind raced with possibilities, wondering what revelation this new player could bring. A shift in power dynamics, an unforeseen ally. "Excuse me?" Gary said, his voice a mix of annoyance and confusion. "I'm in a very important meeting right now." "Please," she implored, stepping fully inside the room, confidence radiating off her as she leveled her gaze at Gary. Her presence commanded attention. "You need to come with me. It's urgent." The board members exchanged bewildered glances, and I seized the opportunity. "Who is she?" I asked, curiosity peaking as the moment unfolded like a well-scripted scene. "I'm Emily, head of compliance," she said, unyielding in her approach. "We've received troubling reports regarding the AI project and its approval process." A chill glided through the air. The very substance of our fight was surfacing. This wasn't merely personal conflict anymore. "Gary, if you could step out for just a moment," she continued, and I could feel a tide of victory swelling within me. The uncertainty that permeated since the start of this journey began to melt away, giving rise to an exhilarating clarity. As Gary stood, disbelief etched deep into his features, I exchanged a glance with Mia and Jake. There was a flicker of triumph. Just as chaos can birth clarity, perhaps this unexpected twist would swing open the doors even wider, bringing our truth into the glaring light. As Gary exited the room with Emily, a palpable hush descended upon us at the table. "What just happened?" A board member finally broke the silence, clearly stunned. "Truth," I responded, infused with a sense of renewed purpose. "What we're presenting is not only about me, it's a call for ethics and innovation, a stand for all those who've been silenced." "Right," Jake added. "We're fighting for the integrity of our work culture, and we won't stop until the truth is recognized." The weight shifted. A resolve was tangible in the air. But just as we were ready to pivot back to our evidence, anticipation prickled through me. Gary could return any moment, and who knew what kind of backlash would follow? Stay tuned as we dive headfirst into the next chapter, where the stakes will reach dizzying heights, leading us toward an uncertain but imperative resolution. Hit that subscribe button, because you won't want to miss how our battle for integrity unfolds. It's about to get even more intense. As I sat in the boardroom, adrenaline coursing through my veins, my heart raced with anticipation. The moment had come where the truth about my AI project was finally going to be acknowledged, but I could still feel the remnants of uncertainty lingering in the air. The door swung open, and Gary walked back in, his demeanor noticeably shifted. Gone was his bravado. Instead, there was a furrowed brow and a look of profound concern on his face. "You!" he spat out, pointing directly at me. "This isn't over." But I felt something different this time. It was as if the weight of everyone in the room had shifted in my favor. The board members exchanged incredulous looks, their interest piqued by the uncharacteristic tension of our supervisor. "Actually, Gary, it is over," I declared, the confidence in my voice growing stronger. "The truth cannot be silenced, and we stand here as witnesses to what integrity looks like." With each word, I could see the resolve building within my colleagues. Together, we would inspire change not just for ourselves, but for everyone challenging the system. One board member, Linda, leaned forward, her expression firm. "We need a full investigation into this matter. If the ethics of our leadership are in question, we cannot stand idle." I could hardly believe what I was hearing. Was this the affirmation I had longed for? As the board members began to discuss the next steps, Gary's facade crumbled. "You can't do this to me," he shouted, but I noticed the fear flickering behind his eyes, the fear of being exposed. This was the moment of reckoning, the epiphany that had eluded many in our industry. I watched my teammates nodding, solidarity radiating from them like a beacon. We were not just fighting for my project anymore. We were carving a path for transparency and respect within our workplace. With the board members drafting an action plan, I expressed my gratitude. "Thank you all for believing in what's right. This is more than just a professional victory. It's time for every innovator to know that their work is valued." As we stepped out of the boardroom, I felt the weight lifting from my shoulders. I turned to Jake and Mia, excitement bubbling between us. We did it. We made a difference. But I remembered one crucial thing. This wasn't just about winning a battle. It was a movement that had the potential to shift cultures across many environments. I looked into the camera, addressing our viewers directly. If you've ever felt unheard or unrecognized for your work, remember, your voice matters. Stand up and fight for it. And if this story resonated with you, hit that subscribe button. Join us as we continue to seek truth and inspire change together. With a smile, I added, let's celebrate every innovator's journey. The world needs to hear your stories, and we'll be here to amplify those voices. Thank you for being part of this incredible journey with me. And as I walked away, I felt the exhilarating power of unity, knowing that together we could change the narrative for everyone.